Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at 7 cruiser motorcycles only stupid people buy. Number 7. Kawasaki Eliminator. The Kawasaki Eliminator looks like it was designed by someone who saw a cruiser in a dream and forgot half the details by the time they woke up. It tries so hard to be minimalist that it ends up looking like a Craigslist DIY project. It's the kind of bike that catches your eye, then immediately makes you question your judgment. Underneath the awkward styling, it's got a 451cc parallel twin engine that sounds better on paper than it does on the road. It's borrowed straight from the Ninja, which means it wants to be sporty in a frame that begs for a rocking chair. The ride feels confused, like the engine and chassis are having a tug-of-war. And for all this confusion, Kawasaki wants around $6,900. That's a lot of cash for something that doesn't know whether it wants to cruise or The seating is low, but that doesn't help the fact that the suspension feels like a wet sponge and the brakes are about as exciting as unsalted crackers. It's light, sure, but that also means every gust of wind turns your relaxing ride into a wrestling match. Don't expect tech thrills either. It's bare bones unless you pay more. And speaking of bones, your tailbone might file a complaint after a few hours on that seat. Overall, the Kawasaki Eliminator is what happens when someone thinks affordable should also mean forgettable. People buy it thinking they're getting a sleek cruiser bargain, but what they're really buying is a midlife crisis with training wheels. Number 6. Honda Shadow Phantom. The Honda Shadow Phantom is what you'd get if someone asked a computer to draw a cruiser based solely on vibes from an early 2000s action movie. It's supposed to look mean and mysterious, but ends up just looking tired and allergic to updates. With a price tag of around $8,300, you'd expect something modern or at least memorable, but the Phantom is stuck in a time loop. It runs on a 745cc V-twin engine that feels like it's been chugging the same coffee since 2007. Sure, it's reliable, Honda always is, but this engine has the charisma of soggy toast. It rumbles like it wants to do more, but then immediately remembers it's a Shadow Phantom and settles back into its nap. And while the torque is usable for city rides, anything above 55 mph, and it starts sounding like it's giving you attitude for trying too hard. The bike has a low seat, blacked out pipes, and a cruiser silhouette, but it all feels like a costume. It's trying to be bad boy on a budget, but it ends up feeling more like the mall security guard of motorcycles. The tech is prehistoric, there's no real storage, and it still runs on a 5-speed gearbox like it's refusing to enter the current decade. Overall, the Honda Shadow Phantom is the motorcycle equivalent of a middle-aged man still wearing his high school varsity jacket. People buy it thinking they're getting timeless cool, but what they really get is a quiet reminder that nostalgia doesn't come with horsepower. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Street 750. The Harley-Davidson Street 750 was meant to lure in a younger, urban crowd, people who wanted the Harley logo without the Harley price tag. But what they got instead was a bike that feels like it was built with the same passion as an instruction manual. With a sticker price around $7,800, you'd expect a solid entry-level cruiser. What you get is a rolling reminder that sometimes affordable Harley is an oxymoron. Its 749cc Revolution X V-twin engine is liquid-cooled and sounds promising on paper, but once it's on the road, the delivery is flatter than a soda left open in the sun. It wants to feel sporty, but the response is sluggish, and there's little satisfaction in the throttle. Build-wise, the bike feels like it was made on Bring Your Intern to Work day. The materials are cheap, the welds look rushed, and the controls have all the refinement of dollar store kitchen tongs. The seating position is awkward, like Harley couldn't decide if it was designing a cruiser or a scooter. Overall, the Harley-Davidson Street 750 gets bought by people who just want to say they ride a Harley, even if that Harley rides like a discounted blender on wheels. It's not a bad bike, it's just uninspired, unpolished, and entirely unworthy of the badge it carries. Number 4. Indian Scout Bobber. The Indian Scout Bobber is what happens when a perfectly good motorcycle goes through an identity crisis and comes out looking cool, but rides like it's punishing you for liking it. With a price tag around $11,000, it screams attitude, but you'll soon realize that most of that attitude is aimed directly at your spine. It runs on a 1133cc V-twin engine that absolutely rips on paper, liquid-cooled, quick throttle response, and over 100 horsepower. Sounds great, right? Until you realize that all that muscle is packed into a bike with ergonomics designed by someone who clearly holds a grudge against knees. The pegs are too forward, the bars are too low, and the seat might as well be made from plywood wrapped in bad decisions. Riding the Scout Bobber feels like wrestling a stylish barstool down the highway. The suspension is brutally stiff. The rear shocks are basically there for decoration, and any bump in the road is a personal attack on your tailbone. Overall, the Indian Scout Bobber is a bike that sells on looks and punishes on ride. People buy it because it looks like rebellion in matte paint, but then spend most of their ownership trying to justify why they're still sore 3 days after a 20-minute ride. Number 3. BMW R18. The BMW R18 is what happens when the Germans decide to out-cruiser the Americans, but accidentally overthink the entire concept. It looks massive, sounds impressive, and costs a whopping $17,500 before you even start adding optional chrome, leather, and Bavarian ego. At its heart is a 1802cc Boxer engine, the biggest boxer BMW has ever built, and it's more of a showpiece than a soul. The thing shakes at idle like it's trying to escape the frame, and while it produces gobs of torque, it also delivers the subtle charm of a malfunctioning washing machine. Riding it feels like BMW wanted to prove it could make a cruiser, by building one that constantly reminds you it's German and very, very serious about itself. The size is absurd. The R18 weighs in like a small moon and maneuvers with the grace of a grand piano on a gravel road. It's long, it's low, and it feels like it was designed by engineers who have never ridden anything without an inline-4. The controls are clunky, the foot positioning is awkward for taller riders, and despite all that tech jammed in ABS, riding modes, reverse gear, nothing actually makes the riding experience feel relaxed. It's a cruiser that forgot to cruise. Overall, the BMW R18 is bought by people who want to make a statement, but forgot to ask what the statement actually is. Number 2. Harley-Davidson Breakout 117. The Harley-Davidson Breakout 117 looks like it was built to flex in a parking lot, and that's pretty much where it shines brightest. With a sticker price starting just above $23,000, this bike isn't aimed at riders looking for balance, comfort, or logic. It's for those who think louder, longer, and shinier automatically means better. Spoiler, it doesn't. Stuffed into this glitter cannon is the Milwaukee 8117 engine, a 1930cc V-twin that delivers raw grunt with all the grace of a punch to the ribs. Sure, it hauls, but the throttle feels like it skipped the finesse class entirely. You twist it, and suddenly you're launching forward like you've got something to prove. It's fast in a straight line, but so is gravity. The Breakout is long, low, and heavy, really heavy. Riding it around town feels like dragging a chrome battleship through rush hour. Corners are more of a suggestion, and tight turns become philosophical debates with physics. The rear tire is so wide it could double as a small runway, and while that looks cool parked next to a diner, it does zero favors when you're trying to ride like a normal human being. Overall, the Harley-Davidson Breakout 117 is the motorcycle version of someone who spends all day at the gym but can't walk upstairs without wheezing. People buy it to show off at bike nights, not because it actually makes sense to ride. Number 1. Indian Chief. The Indian Chief is supposed to be the soul of American motorcycling heritage, classic lines, big V-twin thump, and nostalgic attitude. But beneath all that retro charm is a bike that feels like it's more about midlife fantasy than real-world function. Starting at around $16,500, it lures buyers in with the promise of timeless cool, and then promptly delivers a masterclass in muscle-bound mediocrity. Its 1811cc Thunderstroke engine sounds like it should crush mountains, but in reality, it just lugs around with the grace of a sleepy bison. It's torquey, sure, but not in a way that feels refined or engaging, more like a polite tugboat trying not to spill your coffee. The ergonomics are confusing too. You'd expect comfort on a cruiser this size, but the handlebar reach, mid-forward peg position, and oddly placed controls make you feel like you're piloting a leather-clad ironing board. At lower speeds, it handles like a vending machine with handlebars, and in corners, it prefers to go straight, no matter what you tell it. Overall, the Indian Chief is the kind of motorcycle people buy because they saw it in a glossy ad and thought, yeah, that's the one. But what they're really getting is a bulky, overpriced piece of nostalgia that offers more frustration than fun. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.